Hey guys, welcome to Virtual Sunday School. I hope you're having a great spring and summer is almost here. Happy Memorial Day weekend. I wonder what you guys are doing, having a barbecue or maybe visiting some family or friends. What is Memorial Day weekend? Is it just a 3-day weekend that you have a barbecue? Maybe that's how you celebrate it. Maybe you go to a parade. Maybe you go to the cemetery to honor our veterans. So that's what Memorial Day really is about, is to honor those who have served our country and who have passed away, whether in battle or hopefully from old age. So we're going to read a nice story today to learn about poppies. Now, I hadn't really learned too much about this, so we're going to learn a lot about this together. And attached to this email, you'll find a link that you can actually make poppies. Now, I'm not going to show you today how to make poppies because we've seen my skills when it comes to doing crafts, so I thought I'd give you a break today. So you'll have someone who's really good at crafts show you how to do it. So I'm going to turn my computer around and I'm going to read you a story, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you have a nice Memorial Day weekend. March 1917. German U-boats had sunk another American ship, and the nation was outraged. Would the president call for war? Would Congress agree? Moina Bell Michael prayed not. She had been touring Europe when the war first broke out in the summer of 1914. But now bomb craters, trenches, barbed wire, barriers, and battlefields covered the beautiful countryside, visions that still made her shudder. April 1917. The paperboy wheeled his bicycle across the University of Georgia's normal school, slamming on his brakes when he reached Moina. Moina snatched the Athens banner away from him, struck by the thundering headline, "Wilson asking for war." Moina slowly climbed on top of the dormitory steps and held out the newspaper for all to see. It was striking how different personalities reacted to the sight of that headline. As war began hammering against the home door of every American, Moina knew what war would mean to the college girls. She was their teacher and foster mother. Their brothers, their sweethearts were war service age, and some of their fathers were. Moina promised she would let them know as soon as the president and Congress reached a decision. All night, Moina called the Athens banner. Each time she was told to be patient. The president was still talking to Congress. At 10:30 p.m., she called again. "Tell the young ladies to say their prayers, to go to bed, and to sleep," the frustrated editor replied. When the news broke, an extra edition would be delivered to campus and into Moina's hands. Sleep was out of the question. On campus, Moina looked to the stars and moon, bright on this clear springtime night, and breathed the scent of white Cape jasmine blossoms. She thought of the boys at the university. She offered all to God, if only he would spare them. She thought of the boys throughout the country, if only she could go in their place. Before dawn, the edition finally arrived. Moina read Wilson's inspiring plea to defend democracy, defend the rights of small nations, defend the freedom of the seas. America was going to war. Moina vowed to do everything she could for the soldiers, to remember them. Moina knitted socks and sweaters, rolled bandages for the Red Cross, and when enlisted friends and students came to say goodbye, she gave them a little remembrance to take overseas. But Moina wanted to do more. She delivered books, magazines, and candy to their camps nearby. She and friends invited soldiers home for dinner, and I felt privileged to give my best welcome to these lads in my country's uniform. And when it was time for them to leave, Moina went to the train station to see them off. And my heart was thrilled with pride for their bravery, courage, and cheerfulness. They were so young. They were so innocent of the dangers they were about to face. But Moina needed to do even more. To become a canteen worker for the YMCA and help soldiers overseas seemed perfect. She could listen about home and family and serve food to men on leave from the battlefronts. In the fall of 1980, her appointment approved, 49-year-old Moina headed for New York City and the training program at the Y headquarters at the Columbia University. She successfully completed the course, but told she was too old to go overseas. Moina refused to give up. What could she do now? helped the soldiers before they left for war. Moyna set up a desk at the basement of Columbia's Hamilton Hall, where soldiers, sailors, Marines, and secretaries came during their free time. Every day brought privileges to serve men and women going overseas, each to face the submarine-infested Atlantic and the gas, bombs, and shrapnel of battlefronts. But as winter approached, the large room turned gray and gloomy. The soldiers deserved a brighter, more comfortable place. Moyna knew what to do. With her small salary, Moyna brought fresh flowers and placed them throughout the room. More soldiers came to read and write. Others came to spend time with family, friends, and sweethearts. So often, they would hang around near the desk waiting for a bit of attention. And Moyna was happy to look at photographs, listen to letters, and share the latest hometown news. But she needed to do even more. One Saturday morning, a soldier left a magazine at her desk. Moyna turned to a marked page to find "We Shall Not Sleep" by Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae, a Canadian physician. She had read the poem many times, but she read it again, touched by McCrae's tribute to the soldiers he could not save on the battlefield of Flanders. The poem was most strikingly illustrated in color. Spirits of soldiers floated above the battleground, covered in white crosses and bright red poppies. There were no names on the crosses, no memory of who rested beneath the red poppies, and Moyna knew what she had to do. She read the last verse slowly. "Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from falling hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields." To Moyna, it seemed as though the silent voices again were vocal, whispering. She thought of friends and students and the soldiers at the Y, and she knew she could never forget them. Moyna turned over an envelope and wrote a pledge, ending with a promise. The promise says, "And now the torch and poppy red we wear in honor of our dead. Fear not that you have died for naught. We'll teach the lessons that ye have wrought in Flanders fields." When she finished, Moyna looked up at 3 war workers standing at her desk. On behalf of everyone, they had come to repay her for her kindness. She shared both poems with the men. Impressed, they shared them with others. Soon Moyna was surrounded by men wanting poppies of their own, to honor their buddies sleeping now among the poppies of Flanders fields. Moyna knew just what to do. With their $10 check, she announced, "I shall buy red poppies. I shall always wear red poppies, poppies of Flanders fields." Moyna went poppy hunting on the streets of New York. It never occurred to me the difficulty I would have finding artificial poppies of Flanders fields in the novelty shops of New York City. At last, in Wanamaker's department store, she found 1 large and 24 small red silk poppies. Moyna pinned one on her cloak collar and hurried back to the Y. It was evening and the room was quiet. Moyna placed the large red poppy in the vase on her desk and handed out 23 smaller ones to the men and women leaving soon for France. She watched as they pinned them on their uniforms. Excuse me. Still, Moyna needed to do even more. She would not stop until every American wore a poppy to remember the soldiers, always. So this is kind of an epilogue to the story. I don't know if you guys know what an epilogue is, but it's kind of a story about what happened after the story ended. So I'm going to read that for you. 2 days after Moyna bought the 25 poppies, World War I ended. Parades and celebrations welcomed veterans home. Moyna was joyously elated. I had seen them go away by the thousands. They were coming back by the thousands. But eventually Americans wanted to forget the horrors of war and get on with their lives. It wasn't that simple for veterans trying to reclaim their jobs. They found that women who had filled their positions weren't willing to step aside, and bosses forgot promises to hire men back. This upset Moyna especially as she taught classes for disabled servicemen at the University of Georgia. Some were wounded or suffered the lingering effects of poison gas. Unable to work, they couldn't support their families. So once again, Moyna realized she had to do something. What if the poppy could be more than a tribute to soldiers who didn't return? What if it could benefit returning servicemen and women and their families in need? Moyna spent every spare moment and all the money she could save urging groups to adopt the Flanders Fields Memorial Poppy to honor and support veterans. Finally, her persistence paid off. Several national and international veterans organizations adopted the poppy as their memorial flower, and the message traveled overseas. People donated their hard-earned nickels, pennies, and dimes in exchange for a poppy. Millions of dollars were raised for veterans, war widows, and orphans. And Moyna affectionately referred to the small blossoms as the miracle flower. Now, this was a pretty great story of someone who just wanted to do something little and try to help. Now, it started out with one woman and one small flower. And look what she did. Now, think about what we can do. We always say, you know, I'm just one person. What can I change? What can I do? We can all start something. We can all take our part, whether it's cleaning up litter, whether it's helping a friend, whether it's helping a family member. One person can matter. So guys, I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you take some time and honor our veterans and those who have passed in battle. I hope to see you at the parade, and I hope to see you at the service after the parade. Have a great day. Bye.